Okay, it looks like we are live. We also need to go live on TikTok as well. Don't forget the TikTokers. Very, very important. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Is there anyone there, I wonder? Oh, we have got a few people watching. Fantastic. What do you think of the mood lighting, everyone? Welcome, TikTok. Welcome, everyone on TikTok. If there is anyone on TikTok, if there is anyone watching, thank you for joining. Here we are, Coin Bureau Live. Good, good. People are watching now. I need to do a sound check first. Are people hearing? Hello, Cryptogenic. Great name. Are people hearing me okay? Any sound issues there that we need to be aware of? Greetings from a damp North Wales. Coming in loud and clear on YouTube. Thank you, P. Lee. Wonderful. Good sound. Great sound. Are you? No issues. It's weird, isn't it? It's a Coin Bureau live stream and there are no technical issues. That's weird. Something's not right. My people behind the camera are giving me withering looks there for that one. Hi, how are you doing, everyone? It's great to see you. Hello from Tunisia. Wow, from good here in the Philippines. Hello from Rotterdam, Netherlands. Good, good. This is great. Okay. It's that time again, folks. Gosh, it came around quickly, didn't it? It's Thursday, which means it is Coin Bureau live stream time. I am here to ease you ever so gently into the weekend, so to speak. And thank you ever so much for joining. It's great to see you. It's been another interesting week in crypto. There is, as ever, a lot to talk about. So I'm going to do a rundown of what I was planning to talk about today. But first, let's just see where you're all coming from Bracknell and Bavaria and Nepal and Shropshire. Goodness me, all my people in England, all my people in Britain, I should say. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Oh, now, any Brit, like it, as if things weren't tough enough for Brits already over the last few weeks or so. Just guess what? They just got tougher. So today is going to be, there's going to be a lot of British copium going on today, folks, like it or not. Yeah, wow. I am in Dubai and saw you in Samosa restaurant. Hey, were you the chap who said hi? It was great to see you if you were. If not, say hi next time. Yeah, Samosa. I'm a big fan of that place. I get lunch there every day. Great. Say cheese to Gouda, Netherlands. Hertfordshire. Hello from Riga. It started to suck in England. Yeah. From Botswana. Is that a Doge next to you? No. Well remembered, everyone. It's obviously, here's my co-host for today, as ever. This is my good friend Jerome Owl. Sorry, you can't see him on TikTok, can you? There he is, Jerome Owl. Christened by someone on a live stream just a couple of weeks ago. And whoever that was, if you're watching, I take my hat off to you because that absolutely made my week. So yes, Jerome Owl is joining me today. I'm sure he'll have some. Trenchant opinions, some wise words, so to speak. How is everyone doing? Whose phone? Is it my phone making noises? Owl noises as well. Okay, so let's start off before we get into anything more. Let's start off with a quick look at what is happening in the crypto market. Spoiler alert, not an awful lot by the look of it. There we are, Bitcoin flirting with 18K, Ethereum, everything else. There are a few movers though, aren't there? We've seen a few big gainers over the last few days, which we will talk about. Oh, hello from your friend and fan in El Salvador, Daniel. How's it going in El Salvador? Tell me all about BTC over there. How's that going? I haven't really been keeping up with what's happening with Bitcoin in El Salvador. I see the El Presidente is going for another term. That was kind of the last I heard from El Salvador recently. Naming Grandmaster. Yeah, whoever came up with this name for Jerome Owl is an absolute genius. I really do. It's wonderful. Okay, big fan of your channel from Vietnam. Fantastic. From Sweden, we just keep bouncing around the world here, don't we? Anyhow, the first place we're going to stop off, though, is, I'll tell you what, let me just quickly run you through some of the things I would talk about in today's stream. So I'm with you now for another hour or so. Lots to get through. We will shortly be discussing our shitcoin of the week. This is a new feature that's starting today. Shitcoin of the week. Can anyone guess what this week's shitcoin of the week is? Say in the comments. So we're going to be discussing that. I'm also going to be talking about a few macro factors that have kind of got me a little bit concerned. Obviously, this thing about Nord Stream is all a bit worrying, isn't it? Putin doing his usual Putin things. I got a bit of Kwon to talk about. He's in the news again. And there are some bits of good news out there, folks. Don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. We've got a famous investor backing crypto. I was going to speak briefly about him. Just speak some more about the Federal Reserve, because you know how much I love speaking about the Fed. Maybe even the SEC as well, because apparently I seem to really enjoy talking about them too. I'm going to talk a bit about Circle. There's some interesting news coming out of Circle. I'm going to talk a bit about Cosmos, because they're in the news as well. I'm going to talk about Quant. I'm going to talk about Chainlink. I'm going to might talk about CryptoPunks. I don't know. What's the appetite for that? Probably don't answer that. I'm going to talk about what I got up to at the weekend, because that was pretty interesting. I might talk a bit about MiCA, the European crypto regulation. We got a sneak peek of that. So there's some interesting stuff there. And I might just talk briefly about Algorand and Cardano. I've talked about them quite a lot over the last few streams. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? We might get to them. But yeah, there's lots of things to talk about. Brazil is in the house. Excellent. Excellent. I might mention Polkadot very briefly. And yes, R. Morton, and I'm sure others have alighted on it. Yes, this week's shitcoin of the week is the Great British Pound, or the not so great British Pound. From now on, just known as BP, British Pound, or BSC, British Shitcoin. Yeah, so this is the big kind of financial macro news this week. I think obviously the UK decided that it was sick of the Federal Reserve and the US economy hogging all the headlines. So our government there decided to really push the boat out and just completely lose their minds. This is just absolutely extraordinary, isn't it, folks? So yeah, so anyone who has not been keeping up with this, I imagine a few of you maybe just see UK news and go, oh, what are those idiots up to again? So obviously everything went a bit quiet in the UK recently because of the death of the Queen, sadly. We had a few days of mourning where obviously nothing really happened other than lots of people standing in a queue. And then, of course, Parliament came back, and Liz Truss, our new Prime Minister, who seems to be doing a good impression of a human being, and our new Chancellor of the Exchequer, Kwasi Kwarteng, they released a new mini budget. And this was very much focused on growth. And now, obviously, this was something that we were all kind of waiting for eagerly, because it was due to tackle this problem of rising energy bills and kind of cost of living in general, which I know is a problem in many economies at the moment, but it is really, really acute in Britain. We are facing some really serious problems in the UK. So this budget, they released it, and yep, they sure enough, they promised a heck of a lot of money. I mean, you know, north of 100 billion quid for subsidising energy bills, which I think is the right thing to do. I mean, we can't have people you know, paying tens of thousands of pounds for their electricity, so that was good. And then they also announced a whole load of tax cuts. Now these were tax cuts across the board, I should say, but because of the way the tax regime in the UK is structured, basically it amounted to the rich people, the higher rate taxpayers, saving a small fortune, and all the other people, who, you know, everyone sort of lower down who didn't pay so much tax, obviously what they saved kind of decreased and decreased. So yeah, basically they made tax cuts for the rich, while at the same time splurging billions of pounds on energy bills. And funnily enough, the international markets weren't too impressed, and the pound is absolutely tanking. It sank to its lowest level ever against the US dollar. I know. Let that sink in. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So even the IMF Even the IMF has weighed in to criticize this budget, and I can tell you it is just kicking off back in the UK. I'm obviously still here in Dubai at the moment, so I'm following this with a growing sense of doom from afar, and yeah, it's absolutely crazy what they've done there. And yeah, basically, the Bank of England is now having to step in. Now, all of this problem is, the real problems are arising from the bond market, essentially, because the yield on UK bonds, on UK government gilts, as they're called, is going absolutely through the roof. So what this means is it's becoming more expensive for the UK to borrow. And bear in mind, of course, that the way they're funding all these A, tax cuts, and B, this huge energy bill subsidy is by borrowing. So UK gilts have been selling off because basically international markets don't believe in the UK's credibility anymore, if the UK had any credibility left, that is. And this is causing absolute pandemonium. There are lots of big pension funds who are holding UK gilts. They are now facing margin calls. They're facing liquidity issues as a result of all this. It is pandemonium. So the Bank of England has had to step in to try and alleviate this situation. To be fair, on the Bank of England, they don't really have very many options, so they are printing money. Yep, that's right, folks. Quantitative easing. They're printing money at a time when inflation is running hot in the UK. They were previously trying to get it under control. So that's we've got that to look forward to. More inflation, higher inflation in the UK. And it's just absolute madness over there at the moment. If you're feeling down, just comfort yourself you're not in Britain at the moment, because that is an absolute mess. Now, I must say, like, there are some colleagues of mine here at Coin Bureau who are quite sort of, they're quite kind of small state, low taxes, low intervention kind of people. And I was chatting with them about this, and even they were saying, this is just absolute madness what the UK government is doing. Like, this is day one, economics class, day one. This is the sort of stuff they're talking about. So I don't know what, I mean, it all seems to be ideologically driven. If anyone followed the recent kind of selection of the new British Prime Minister after they kicked Boris Johnson out, if anyone managed to follow that without wanting to kill themselves, well done you, because it was boring as hell. But anyway, we ended up with this very ideological Prime Minister elected by a tiny group of people in the Conservative Party. And sure enough, she's gone and absolutely tanked the economy. So, and hey, look, does this not make the case for Bitcoin? Does this not make the case for crypto? This is what central banks do. This is what governments and central banks do. They get us into these crazy situations with borrowing money, then they print it out of thin air, and then they wonder why inflation goes through the roof, and they wonder why everyone's getting so angry with them all of a sudden. It's it's a pretty woeful situation. Anyhow, gosh, I could waffle on about the UK all day long, which I'm sure you'd rather I didn't do. Temporary name: why I live off grid outside London. Okay, well, I think you may have quite a few neighbours living off grid next door to you outside London at the rate things are going. Today they are betting Truss won't last until Christmas. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good bet. We used to make fun of other countries. We used to make fun of the likes of Italy, who seem to change prime minister all the time. This is our fourth prime minister in, what is it, 4 years, 3 years, something like that. Yeah, rapidly becoming a basket case. Someone asking, shall I go all in on Cardano? Goodness me, in a bear market? Look, I'm a big fan of Cardano, but I certainly wouldn't go all in on anything right now. Not financial advice, of course. It's tough conditions out there at the moment, folks. I've made a note here to remind everyone. you know, this situation unfolding in the UK, and obviously all the other macro madness that's happening around the world, all the craziness, all the volatility we're seeing in kind of every asset market, really, not just crypto. Stocks are absolutely tanking in the UK and elsewhere. All this volatility, folks, means you have to be extra vigilant, and you need to make sure whatever you're holding, however I'm hoping that your portfolios are diversified, whether, you know, even if you do have a lot in crypto, I hope you've diversified across that portfolio, and I hope as well you're not holding it all in one place. It's good if you're holding your crypto on a secure hardware wallet. That is good, but always look and see how much you can diversify, folks. Putting all your eggs in one basket is a sure way to financial ruin. So whatever is in your investment portfolio, do make sure it's diversified. Don't have it all sitting in one place, on one exchange, in one bank account, with one platform or provider or whatever it is. Yeah, because these sorts of times, you know, there's so much volatility out there at the moment, folks. It really, really is crazy. How are we doing in the comments? Are you buying Porsche stock? No, I'm not buying Porsche stock at the moment. I'm not particularly big on stocks at the moment. I have a few sort of dusty old stocks sitting around, but yeah, I'm mostly crypto. Obviously, I mean, I'd have to be, wouldn't I? Okay, holding most of mine in BUSD, ready to pounce. Okay. Well, again, think about diversifying your stable coins as well. BUSD, are you holding all that on Binance? You know, Binance, big exchange, obviously worldwide footprint, but, you know, keeping it all in one place is still very dangerous. ETH price prediction for 2025. Goodness me. I'm not going to make I'm not going to predict a particular number, because, you know, that is that is open to the chances are I will get it wrong. But by 2025, I fully expect markets to have ticked back up again. So I expect it to be higher than what it is now, which you might argue isn't all that difficult. But bear in mind, folks, prices can still go down from here. I am expecting that to happen over the next few months as winter really starts to bite. So, okay, how is everyone getting on? Good. Right. What else? I've warned you to keep diversified. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Now, some macro things that have been kind of catching my eye in the news at the moment. Nord Stream, this business with someone has blown up the Nord Stream pipeline, and as you can imagine, Twitter, everywhere else, is going absolutely crazy with speculation about it. Some people think it's the Russians, some people think it's the Americans. What's the craziest theory I've heard? Someone speculating that it could be a private company. Someone suggested it was the guys from 3 Hours Capital. Yeah, all sorts of speculations as to who could have blown up Nord Stream. I mean, I must say, it seems like a weird thing for the Russians to have done. Now, this isn't to say that they didn't do it, because I think Vladimir Putin is capable of doing all sorts of stupid stuff, as he has proven over the course of the year, really. So I don't think you can rule out Russian intervention, but it does seem an odd thing to do, to blow up, you know, your only kind of source of leverage over Europe, because I would imagine that that Putin was kind of pinning a lot of his hopes on the fact that once winter really started to bite, Europe would be begging him to turn Nord Stream on again, and he could kind of name his price, and, you know, obviously eyeing up sanctions being lifted and all that sort of stuff. So for him to blow up Nord Stream does seem an odd thing to do. But then the other side of that equation is a lot of people are speculating it could be a psyops job, and we know the Russians aren't exactly beyond those sorts of shenanigans either. And of course, people are speculating that the Americans did it, which again, I don't know. I just don't think they're that crazy, the Americans. But on the other hand, of course, it does mean it does kind of make Europe. It kind of puts Europe in an impossible position. Really, they just have to carry on with sanctions. I think perhaps the US is worried that the energy crisis in Europe could could force Europe to abandon sanctions. I don't think that's going to happen personally. I think Europe is going to stand firm on that. Mind you, with Nord Stream now leaking into the Baltic Sea, that they might not have an issue either way. Okay, so triple halving. Talk about the triple halving, I think you mean. The triple halving. Okay, well, obviously this is all kind of a little bit backdated, the triple halving, but yeah, this is something that we've been speculating on. Obviously, the merge and the things that it's going to do to ETH supply in the long term. Obviously, we've seen the issuance of new ETH really drop since proof of stake happened, and a lot of people are predicting that this will eventually amount to a triple halving event. So, net positive, very bullish for ETH's price in the long term. Remember, folks, we are still in a bear market, and that ain't going to change anytime soon. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that, about what it means to be in a bear market at the moment, because as I mentioned earlier, we have had some bits of good news, crypto related good news in the past week or so. Crypto projects are still building. Crypto projects are implementing really important upgrades. The merge is obviously just one of them, but crypto prices are not doing very much at all, and that, I'm afraid, is classic bear market behavior, folks. Someone asking, what about XRP? What about XRP? Yeah, there was a lot of excitement, wasn't there, last weekend that we could see a judgment in the SEC case this week. I've been speculating for about a couple of weeks now that we are due a judgment in the LBRY case. Now, if anyone hasn't been keeping up with the LBRY case, this is another action that the SEC has brought against a much smaller crypto project called, funnily enough, LBRY. Kind of the same sort of thing, alleging the sale of an unregistered security. Now, the reason why this is important is if the SEC gets a favorable judgment in that LBRY case, then it sets a precedent. And a precedent is really important in legal terms, because that could have a big effect on the SEC's case against Ripple. So we're waiting with kind of bated breath for an outcome in the LBRY case, and of course we're waiting with even more bated breath, you could argue, for an outcome in the SEC case. And from what I could see, folks, I was having a look into that before I came on air, can't really see any movement at the moment. It seems to be a classic example of the wheels of justice just turning very slowly, because yeah, it seems the legal profession, when these things happen, these kind of cases, most of it is just really boring. So we're still waiting, I'm afraid. Now, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If we do get a favorable judgment, if the SEC loses its case against LBRY and loses against Ripple, that will obviously be very good for the crypto market. But any pump, folks, it just won't last, because, as I said, we are in a bear market. So anyone kind of looking to trade a possible XRP pump or anything like that, or a sort of general market pump off the back of that, you need to be prepared, folks. These are volatile times, and that is a tough trade. So be very careful. Okay, so very interested on your thoughts regarding ALGO. I'll talk about ALGO I mentioned Algorand last week. Obviously, they've just introduced a state proof. So Algorand's TPS has shot up to 6,000. And from what I can gather, the upgrades in the pipeline are going to take that even higher. So this is good news for Algorand and for the Algorand ecosystem as well. There seems to be a lot on the horizon for Algorand. And as I speculated earlier this week in the weekly news, I think there is a very good chance that some of the really big and exciting projects we see in the next bull run, some of them could well be found in both the Algorand and Cardano ecosystems. So bear that in mind, folks, but don't get too excited, because we are a long way from that at the moment. Okay, so I'm in the dark today. Yeah, it is a bit moody, isn't it? Perhaps I should, well, I won't get it. I'm quite well lit on TikTok, but I've gone for a bit more of a moody lighting scheme here on Coin Bureau Clips. And as I keep I know I keep making these promises, folks. I will make this whole area more interesting in future live streams. I just need to get round to ordering some interesting and cool stuff to put on the walls. So I'm working on it. Okay, another thing to watch out for, which could cause a lot of market volatility, is coming tomorrow. We're back to Russia, I'm afraid. We're expecting a speech from Vladimir Putin, Vlad the Invader, about these annexed territories. Obviously, if you've been keeping up with the news, Russia has been conducting these referendums in occupied parts of Ukraine. And unsurprisingly, these parts of Ukraine have apparently voted entirely fairly to join the Russian Federation. Now, it looks like Putin is going to make a speech tomorrow announcing that he's absorbing these territories into Russia. Therefore, they're going to become Russian territory. And that potentially raises the stakes in the war in Ukraine a lot, because he can then treat any incursion by Ukrainian forces into those territories, which obviously Ukraine quite rightly considers to still be part of Ukraine. He can consider any incursion into those territories as an incursion onto Russian territory. Obviously, he's hinted at using nuclear weapons because he's insane. And a lot of people think that is a bluff. I think that's a bluff personally, but I don't know. When you're dealing with someone who is quite clearly as round the bend as Vladimir Putin, you can just never be sure. Now, what has this got to do with crypto or anything else? It's going to create a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear. Markets don't like uncertainty, so that could, if Vlad comes out and starts spouting all sorts of nonsense tomorrow, then we could see a pretty red end to the week in crypto and other markets as well. I think that has the potential to really spook the markets, folks. So keep an eye on what Vlad the Assailer. Thanks, Trevor. On what Vlad the Assailer has to say. If you poke the bear too much, it's dangerous. Yeah, and you can't really reason with a bear, can you? Jad, maybe tomorrow start the bear being crackdown. Not quite sure what that means, but yeah, we could see. I think tomorrow could be a pretty rough day, folks. Obviously, the situation in the UK will continue. Just going back to the UK, the Chancellor said, "Oh, he's going to make another statement in November." In November, it's not even October. And he'll come back to the matter in November. It's like there won't be a pound, there won't be a UK in November. Quasi, get on with it, man. Jesus. Sorry, folks. Sorry. I'm afraid I will occasionally just lapse back into the persona of an utterly baffled and disappointed Englishman. I can't help it, folks. It's just me, I'm afraid. Someone asking, isn't now the best time to build wealth? It certainly is, Daniel. It certainly is. Now is the time now is the time to start thinking about building wealth. I'm not convinced now is a good time to be investing, but now is a good time to be researching. It's a good time to be digging down into projects that you think are interesting, digging into those fundamentals, doing your research, looking at those tokenomics, looking at those use cases, asking yourself the difficult questions about the project, being wary of confirmation bias. Just because you like a project doesn't mean it should stop you asking hard questions. That is one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of investors make, folks, is confirmation bias, not listening to negative news about projects they like. And that is one of the ways that people get wrecked. So do pay close attention to that, folks. But yeah, you're right, Daniel. Now is a time to start thinking about building wealth. It's about looking to invest cautiously. It's about keeping a close eye on the markets, even though they are boring as hell. But it's certainly not a time to be trying to trade these markets. I take my hat off to anyone who is brave enough to trade under these conditions. Nerves of steel. Oh yes, daily the Dejed stablecoin soon. Yes, that's another potentially big milestone for Cardano. We'll be watching out for that. Okay, knowledge is wealth. Absolutely, Micah. Couldn't have put it better myself. Okay, what else was I going to talk about? Do Kwon again. Do Kwon is on the run. He has a he seems to be pretending, tweeting that he's not on a red list, even though he's in the Interpol red list. No one seems to know where he is. The speculation that he's in Singapore. The Singaporean authorities have denied it. He is obviously not giving away his location. Apparently, the reason for this is security concerns, which obviously does make sense, because I imagine there are a lot of people who would like to have some very harsh words with Do Kwon. Yeah, I mean, really, the best thing for him to do, I think, would be to give himself up and answer some questions, because he has a lot of questions to answer. So yeah, this Do Kwon saga just seems to drag on and on, doesn't it? I will say one thing in Do Kwon's defense, though. Now, well, or to mitigate, to give another side to this story, we don't know exactly how guilty Do Kwon is. How culpable he is for in Terra's collapse. The question I want answered is, who on earth made that first withdrawal from the curve pool? Because we know who Celsius obviously made the second withdrawal. We know who made subsequent withdrawals from that pool, which obviously started this whole collapse of UST and Terra in motion. But we do not know who made that first curve pool withdrawal. And until we do, we can't reliably pin the blame on anyone. So that's that's all I'm going to say about that. I think Do Kwon has a lot of questions to answer, but yeah, there are still a lot of unknowns around that whole mess. So how are we getting on at Coin Bureau? Is proof of stake the same as banking? Goodness me, that's a very long and involved question. I'm gonna pass on that one, because I think we could be here all night talking about proof of stake and banking and all the arguments mixed up with it. Yeah, there are certainly a lot of questions around proof of stake, certainly around proof of stake and centralization at the moment as well. This is one of the big things. This is one of the big issues that I think the crypto community that we need to get ironed out. The crypto industry needs to get these questions, start answering these questions before the next bull run, I think, because if they're not answered, I think that is going to be a serious break, a serious weight on the whole industry going forward. Okay, so how are we doing? I want to talk about a little bit of good news. Stanley Druckenmiller, who is one of the most famous, well-known, well-respected global macro investors, he's been giving his opinion on this whole mess with the pound happening in the UK, I've got a quote from him here that I thought was very interesting. I could see cryptocurrency having a big role in a renaissance because people just aren't going to trust the central banks. Absolutely true. It's very, very encouraging to see a figure like Stanley Druckenmiller, who at the moment doesn't hold any crypto. He's not gone into crypto yet, but those are very interesting, very positive comments he's making about crypto, because I think he's absolutely right. Trust in central banks, trust in government, trust in large institutions is just ebbing away by the day. I think more and more people are waking up to just how badly they have messed up and how badly they continue to mess up. And, this situation in the UK is just another example of it. Governments making an absolute hash of things, interest rates having to go up in order to, try and arrest the slide, and just absolutely insane fiscal policies from governments, insane monetary policies from central banks. Having said that, of course, I think, like I said earlier, I do feel kind of sorry for the Bank of England, because they were genuinely trying to get a handle on inflation in the UK. And now they've been forced to backtrack. I mean, they had to make some sort of intervention to prop up the gilt market, because otherwise it would just keep collapsing further. So Yeah, I think, and obviously the Federal Reserve, I think, is making, is on the right course, raising interest rates, even though it is tanking the markets. And don't forget, folks, this is the main reason why crypto has been suffering lately, because of the actions by the Federal Reserve. It really has no choice, I'm afraid. That is what the Fed, Jerome and his buddies at the Fed, have to do. They have to get inflation under control. And as Jerome said, I don't know if you were watching the Fed's recent press conference, which I covered in a recent video. Jerome is just hawkish AF at the moment, and he's basically saying, yeah, we are willing to crash the economy. We are willing to cause a recession in the US in order to get inflation under control. And bear in mind, folks, inflation running over 8% at the moment in the US, if you believe that official figure, that is, and they've got to get it down to 2%. That is the Fed's target, 2% inflation. And it's even higher in the UK. The UK target is 2% as well. The Bank of England has to get it down. I think it was, last I checked, inflation was running at around 10% in the UK. It's going to get even higher now that they've been forced to print more money. Thank you, government. So anyhow, so I'm ranting again. I'm sorry if the camera's sort of flecked with spit as I just rant incoherently about all the craziness going on. It's 12% here in the Netherlands. Is that right? Wow, that is amazing. 12% in the Netherlands. I'm sure it's higher elsewhere, but yeah, this is crazy. Thank you everyone for all your thank you for all your nice non-crypto related comments as well. Love your accent. Thank you, Kitten Power. It means a lot. One of the things 16% in Romania. Oh my word. 10% in Germany. Wow. It is so bleak, isn't it? It's so bleak out there with inflation at the moment. Anyhow, yes, I'm so glad people out there like my accent. One of the things I get told an awful lot is that I love listening to your videos or watching your videos or your podcast or whatever. I always go to sleep listening to you, and I've had quite a few people's wives come up to me and say, "Oh, my husband goes to sleep listening to your voice every night," which is both weird and also wonderful as well. Apparently, I've got a very kind of soporific voice. 30% inflation in Latvia? No way. Goodness, 115% in Greece. Oh my word. 500% in Syria. Oh my word. I'm going to have to check some of these figures, but yeah, goodness. Can I do a northern accent? I'll get in trouble from any northern viewers. I get in lots of trouble from Macy when I impersonate her Leeds accent because she says I do it crap. So anyhow. What was I wanting to say? Yeah, going back just ever so briefly to the Federal Reserve. Folks, don't fight the Fed. And what I mean by that is, as I said earlier, the Fed is what is causing crypto prices to crash because it's raising interest rates, which, as I say, it has to do. This means that all the good news that we get in the crypto markets, it doesn't mean a damn, unfortunately. Folks, Amazon could come out tomorrow and announce that it is going to accept payments in crypto, and the pump will last about 30 minutes. I can promise you that. Like, there is good news happening. There is lots of cool stuff still happening in the crypto space, but any pump, I mean, just look at what happened with the merge, folks. A couple of hours later, one of the biggest events in crypto, it went off without a hitch. Prices went parabolic for about, an hour, 2 hours, and then here we are. So do bear that in mind, folks. Don't Guy start an ASMR channel. I have thought about it. Yeah, that stuff is so weird. That ASMR stuff, I can't get my head around that. Okay, so yeah, and this is kind of this idea of don't fight the Fed, this idea of whatever good news we have is only going to be reflected in the crypto markets for a short period of time. That's really important to remember, folks, because yeah, we even, and as I said, this ties in with what I was saying about Ripple and the SEC. That pump, it won't last long. So anyone saying, a victory for the SEC will set the crypto market on fire, Yeah, for 5 minutes. So bear that in mind, folks. Anyhow, so we've talked about LBRY and Ripple. Now Circle. People familiar with Circle? Obviously, the issuer of the that's clearly your niche, crypto ASMR. Noel G says, "I love the Fed. I follow every conference." Noel, whatever floats your boat, sir. I'm actually reading a very good book about the Fed at the moment. I'm a few chapters in. It's by a woman called Danielle DiMartino Booth. She used to work at the Federal Reserve, and it's called Fed Up. And it's about why the Federal Reserve is bad for America. And I must say, I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm about 4 chapters in. It's just kind of talking about her time at the Fed, what she found there, the sort of people who work at the Fed. That's absolutely fascinating. So I will keep you posted on that. But the book is called Fed Up. It's by Danielle DiMartino Booth. And so far I'm really, really enjoying it. Anyhow, Noel, you might not want to read that if you're a big fan of the Fed. Okay, so what was I talking about? Circle, who issue the USDC stablecoin. They are a big old company, and they have just announced that they are expanding to 5 new blockchains. So USDC is going to become available on 5 additional blockchains. Those blockchains are, has anyone been following this? Anyone want to guess what those blockchains are that we're going to be seeing USDC on? Okay, I'll put you out of your misery. We are going to be and yes, that's absolutely right. Subsonic producer. They issue USDC and Eurocoin as well. This new European stablecoin, very well remembered, because that is particularly relevant given all the crypto regulation that we're seeing happening in Europe at the moment with this MiCA bill. I've got a video about the MiCA bill coming out at some point this weekend. Basically, long story short, we were able to get access to a leaked copy of this bill that is going to go before the European Parliament very soon. Me and my team here, we had a chance to comb through it. We had some help from a wonderful chap named Patrick Hansen, who has been very closely involved with this bill. And there's some interesting stuff in there, folks. And I think it could be bullish for crypto. That's right. It could be bullish for crypto. That's all I'm going to say at this point, folks. But keep a lookout for that video on our main channel over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday. Haven't quite decided what day I'm going to release it yet, but that is really important. That's a good video to watch. Anyhow, let's get back to Circle. So Circle is expanding USDC to 5 additional blockchains. They are, yes, someone's put there in the comments, Cosmos, Arbitrum, Polkadot, Near, and Optimism. Well done, Nocius, and everyone else. Everyone else who guessed, well, you didn't guess, obviously, you've been following the news. So good, yeah. Arbitrum, Near, Cosmos, Polkadot, and Optimism are going to be hosting USDC in the future. I think it's a while for Cosmos. I think we might have to wait until, is it next year for USDC on Cosmos? But I think those other ones are coming pretty soon. And obviously, USDC is already on a bunch of other blockchains. Solana is its host blockchain. Ethereum, Avalanche, Polygon, Tron, Algorand, Flow, Hedera, and Stellar. Now, Circle is an interesting one. It's a massive, it's a big old company, expanding a lot. And look, I mean, these stablecoin issuers, of which obviously Circle is one, are making a ton of money at the moment, folks. And the reason for that is, well, certainly these centralized stablecoin issuers are, because they have to collateralize all the stablecoins in circulation. And the main way they do that is with US government debt, obviously for all the US dollar stablecoins they have in circulation. So the returns on that are pretty massive. So these companies are making a lot of money. And Circle itself is looking to go public at, I think it's scheduled for the end of this year. Now, this is really, really interesting, folks. This is, this will be the next crypto company to go public after Coinbase. So make of that what you will. But yeah, I think that is definitely a company to keep a very close eye on. Obviously, USDC has lost a bit of ground against Tether at the moment. Tether recently, but it is obviously backed by this big old company. And obviously, I think Circle has some advantages as it's a US company. some people have speculated. Now, the SEC, as well as not liking crypto, it also doesn't like SPACs, these special purpose acquisition companies that are used. This is a kind of new and innovative way of floating companies on the stock market. You do it via this kind of shell company. The SEC doesn't like these shell companies, and some people were kind of speculating that this could be a problem for Circle going public. I mean, I must say, Circle is a big US regulated company. I think the SEC will probably wave that one through, to be honest. Not financial advice, of course. But yeah, I think, and obviously the fact that Circle has to buy up US government debt in order to back all its USDC, I think that could work in its favor as well. So it's some big stuff happening with Circle at the moment. So keep a good eye on that. And I saw a news piece as well in Decrypt, I think it was, saying that Tether's auditors had been fined by the SEC, of all people. So obviously, I think, yeah, the US authorities do not like Tether. In the least surprising news you've ever heard. Okay. Ninesh Patel, hi Guy, please can you make video on internet computer? Thanks. Are you sure? Goodness. ICP, yeah. Yeah, okay. At some point we'll have to cover ICP again. It's just, yeah, God, we did do a deep dive on that a while ago. And anyone who bought into ICP when it launched, ouch. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about? We've got a new, there was some good news for Cosmos as well, wasn't there? Oh, what's that? They're calling it a controlled recession here in Canada. A controlled recession, eh? Wonder what that looks like. That's yeah, they're finding new and wonderful ways to repackage all the carnage that they're causing, aren't they, these governments? Yeah, don't worry, it's a controlled recession. Like a controlled explosion, isn't it? So what else do I want to talk about? I know a lot of people asking in the comments, wanting me to talk about Quant. I'm going to talk about Quant in just a moment or so, but before I do, I want to mention this new white paper that we saw from Cosmos. It was the big Cosmos conference this week, recently, wasn't it? Where was it? Was it Medellin? Was it Medellin in Colombia? Which sounds a pretty cool place to have a conference. So new Cosmos white paper. Now Cosmos Hub, kind of this reinvention is the interchain web. Basically seems to be focused on interoperability, security, and decentralization, which makes sense, makes a lot of sense. And I think, aimed at kind of making other Cosmos blockchains more interoperable with the Cosmos Hub itself. And I think we're also going to see, they're also laying out plans for leveraged liquid staking for Atom as well. So you'd think, obviously, that this would pump Atom like nobody's business. And as I remember, it didn't. So there we are, folks. That is the bear market in action. You get some wonderful news. You get some, really positive development on a project, and the coin or token does absolutely nothing. And that is the same with a few things. However, okay, let's talk briefly about Quant, because if you take a scroll through CoinGecko, you see everything has pretty much had a terrible week apart from Quant, which is up big time. Now, Quant, I think, seems to be, from what I could tell, there's been a lot of whale accumulation. A lot of Quant whales seem to have been stacking up QNT. Now, obviously, when markets are sluggish like this and volatility is high, this sort of action can really pump the price. We don't see this, they have it not so pronounced when we're in a bull market, but in bear market conditions, whale accumulation can very easily pump the price. So that's one reason why I think QNT is up. Now, also, Quant Network is very heavily tied to CBDC, central bank digital currency development, and obviously, we've seen a lot of talk about CBDCs recently. As you know, I am not a fan of CBDCs. I think they are going to be a very bad thing. But certainly, Quant Network has positioned itself very, very well. It doesn't have an awful lot of competition in that niche. So I think all the talk around central bank digital currencies, I think that is one of the reasons why we've seen QNT pumping as well. Also a rise in daily active addresses too on Quant's network. So those are some of the reasons why I think we've seen QNT pump. And yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of clear winner this week, isn't it? It's really done well. For some reason, comments last time I checked was still turned off on Quant Network's Twitter. Don't know why that is. So if anyone does, I'd be very curious to know. Anyhow, so let's move on. Chainlink. Okay, Chainlink has partnered with Swift. And again, this is the sort of news that in a bull market would send something to the absolute moon. And it's a bear market. Last I looked, Link was down 4%. Welcome to the bear market, folks. Welcome to the bear market. So yeah, Chainlink partnered with SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications, and they are working on a proof of concept project to allow traditional finance firms to interact with crypto, to transact across various blockchain networks. Very, very exciting stuff. Certainly exciting stuff for Link. So as I understand it, Swift can now send a message to Chainlink, and Chainlink can execute that message on chain with any cryptocurrency blockchain that Chainlink has integrated with. And this is via Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol, this CCIP, which has been working on for a while now. Now, okay, folks, this is good news for Chainlink. Obviously, it hasn't affected the price because we're in a bear market. This does kind of look to me like TradFi becoming more interoperable with crypto, essentially. I'm not convinced that's really good news. I don't think we want to see our beloved crypto being integrated with TradFi. I think that can only lead one way. So I don't think this is particularly bullish news, although it is certainly good news for Chainlink. And obviously, I think we're due to see Link staking. The last I checked, according to Sergey, that was going to be coming. Link staking was due in December, I think. So that is something to watch out for as well. Okay, someone just saying, Juhan Kim, wow, live stream. Yeah, I know. Crazy. Juhan, where have you been? We're here every Thursday. I must say, folks, I wanted to mention as well just how much I look forward to these live streams every week. This is without a doubt the highlight of my week. It's just really lovely to engage with you guys, get to see all your wonderful comments, and just kind of check in with you because yeah, it gets a bit lonely just kind of stood waffling away in a studio for so much of the week. So yeah, this is honestly the highlight of my week, guys. I really, really look forward to, well, they're Thursday evenings here where I am. Some of you, it's the middle of the night or very early in the morning. So yeah, if you're those people, thanks especially for joining. But yeah, it's I'm really, really enjoying them. And I think this Thursday timing seems to be working very well as well. Okay. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, I noticed Punk 2924 just sold for 3,300 ETH. Anyone care? No, thought not. NFTs. You just say the word NFTs and watch people switch off. So that's all I'm going to say. Anyhow, something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about last weekend because I had an awesome time on Saturday night. I was at a Binance event at the LBRY. Okay, at Binance at the LBRY. This was celebrating the fact that Binance has just got approval for a regulated exchange here in Dubai. As you can imagine, they were very, very happy about that. And so the evening was kind of, drinks and nibbles and networking. I got to meet some very, very interesting people at that, including none other than CZ himself. Yeah. It was quite a moment, I must say. And then I got to have a sort of fireside chat with him in front of the LBRY. We were sat in front. There was this amazing light show on the LBRY, and then CZ and I chatted for, I guess, about kind of 20 minutes, half an hour. It was very, very hot out there. Yeah, I must say, CZ is a really, really lovely chap. I had a lovely, lovely chat with him. He was very, very nice, kind of very unassuming. You know, bear in mind, this is CEO of one of the biggest companies in crypto. He's a multi-billionaire, the richest person in crypto, one of the richest people in the world. And you just wouldn't think it to meet him. Very nice, very unassuming, very easy to talk to. Seemed like a really cool guy. Didn't have any sort of aggressive CEO, big dick energy, anything like that. Just seemed like a guy who was kind of really loving what he was doing. And yeah, it was great to meet him. It was great to meet a lot of other cool people at this Binance event as well. And now I've got a little, I've got something I want you to take a look at. Okay, so this was one of the sort of goodies that they gave away. Can anyone see that? Can you see that on TikTok? Can you see that on clips as well? So this is obviously this kind of weird VHS cassette size thing. Anyone want to take a guess what's inside this? Obviously Binance branding. You can see nice kind of gold there, gold and black branding. Anyone want to guess what this is? This is what you get when you go to a Binance event, folks. This is what you get when you get to the top. What is it? Okay, guesses in the comments. Monkey JPEG, watch, it's cold storage, hardware wallet, gold coin, it's BNB coin, wallet, looks like an offline wallet, BNB token, keep guessing, frame picture of CZ, diary, card, cold wallet, liquidation, liquidation. Baseball cards, it's a legend. No, you're all wrong. You're all wrong. Photo of CZ, oh, I wish. Binance belt buckle, that would have been amazing. Menu, Binance Bible, watch, phone, Lego, oh, that would have been amazing too. Thank you card, notebook, notepad. Keep guessing, you're not right. Shaving kit, a Binance shaving kit. I'm gonna do it. No, I'm gonna. All right, stop. You won't guess. You won't guess. Stop loss. Gift card, a Quran. Oh my word, dice, a white paper. No, you're all right. Satoshi's address. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. A flaming toupee. Oh my, Vitalik's pants. Kama Sutra, US whiskey. Oh my word. Oh my word. Stop it. Stop it. Binance condoms. Oh my word. Okay. I'm gonna reveal. This is what you get. Do Quant's coordinates. Okay, stop it. All right, this is what you get when you go to a swanky Binance event at the Burj and you get to meet CZ. This is what you get. It is a Burj Khalifa in chocolate. Chocolate. Someone guessing chocolate. Did you guess that before or after yeah, that's it, folks. Buy Burj Khalifa chocolate. I was thinking the incredulity. Oh, you guessed chocolate. Well done, whoever guessed chocolate. Sorry, there were so many guesses coming up. That is what I got that is what I got interviewing CZ, going to this Binance event. I tell you what, it was a really wonderful event. No expense spared. Binance chocolate, everyone. Is there a wallet QR? Good question. No, it's just chocolate. It's just chocolate. Well, I'm going to enjoy that. I went with it didn't melt in the heat. No, it was indoors. Fortunately, this part was indoors. I had to interview, so I got there right, and we'd kind of been, been talking about it, and we got there, and I was like, oh, so where's the interview going to happen? And they said, oh, out here. I was like, out? It's 40 degrees out there, people. What on earth is going on? So yeah, it was outside. Eat it. Andrew, this isn't an ASMR channel. This is not that sort of channel. Take a bite. Do you know what? I'm not going to take a bite. And well, there are a couple of reasons. One, I'm on a diet. Two, this is actually Macy's. So I brought a couple. I grabbed some for Macy. Unfortunately, couldn't make it to the event. No, she was invited. But she sadly couldn't make it. So I got one of these for her. I've actually, well, my wife and I have already eaten this one. So I'm not, if I eat Macy's Burj chocolate, she will actually kill me. It did taste very nice, as you would expect. Yeah, Binance wouldn't be giving away crappy chocolate. Okay, so chocolate is good in any diet. Eat it. Where's the golden ticket? There is no golden ticket. Need to leave. Chocolate is too much for me. What a way to eat it. Forbidden chocolate now. I know forbidden chocolate tastes even better. Stop it. Stop it. You're bad people. You're bad people making. Okay. So, folks, we are almost out of time now. I must say that is I really enjoyed that. Yeah, make it an NFT. Good idea. Good idea. Shall we? How about Coin Bureau chocolate? This seems to be the way to do it. So yeah, that Binance event was it was great fun. There were some really interesting people there, and yeah, it was really nice meeting CZ. I am hopefully going to chat with him again properly at some point. We are trying to make that happen at the moment because, like I say, I was able to chat to him for about kind of 20 minutes to half an hour. And we sort of agreed to kind of keep it short because it was so damn hot out there, and you could kind of see people watching and just sort of wilting. Plus, I was sweating like mad as well. So, what I'd love to do is kind of sit down with CZ one-on-one for a bit of a kind of longer form chat. At some point, because there is just so much to talk about. And we touched on a few things as well. And I must say, it was really interesting just kind of asking him a little bit about his life as well. Do you know he's pioneered 5-minute meetings? He just has 5-minute meetings, just like that. And just the busiest man. I don't know how he does it, but he still looks like he's enjoying it as well. I was speculating last week. Obviously, some of the news last week I talked about was the fact that Jesse Powell had stepped down as the CEO of Kraken. Did you guys notice that? We've actually had quite a few crypto CEOs stepping down recently, and I reckon one of the reasons for that is because they don't really fancy spending the next couple of years answering questions from regulators. And I did, from reading Jesse Powell's statement, I did get the impression that he wasn't really enjoying being CEO anymore. But I must say, I didn't get that. I didn't get that feeling from CZ. He seemed to be a man really enjoying what he is doing. So good on him. Okay, all right. Ask CZ if you can rub his head. Yes, I did, and I got thrown out, and they just gave me some chocolate on the way out. Anyway, folks, so a lot of enthusiasm for Coin Bureau chocolate in the future. I will get onto our merchandise department about that. We will bring you Coin Bureau chocolate, I promise you. Anyway, folks, that is about it for this week. Thank you so much for joining. As I say, this is always such a highlight of my week. It's lovely to get to hang out with you, and I hope we can do it again soon. So I'm going to be here, same time, same place next week. Who knows? This might be a bit more interesting. Jerome Owl will still be here. Jerome will be joining us. We didn't get any of your insight today, I'm afraid, Jerome. There just wasn't time for it. I was so busy talking about chocolate. Thank you all for joining. It was lovely to see you, lovely to have you. Thank you for all your lovely messages. Enjoy your weekend. I know it's Friday tomorrow, but we're almost there, folks. We're almost there. Have a lovely weekend. Look after yourself. Be nice to each other. Stay cool, stay crypto, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Ciao. Oh, end on there.